Good night in Istanbul. How are you today? How are you? Good? Good. It's always a pleasure to be here. I've been working with Turkey for the last 6 years, and I can tell you, every time I come here, my heart gets full. I even lived here for 1 year. Amazing experience. But I don't want to annoy you with my personal story, so I'm just going to go into my presentation. I have several things and insights that I would like to share with you today. But before that, I'd like to do a little bit of an exercise. So what I want to do, I want to show you some keywords here, and then if you can relate to those words, I would kindly ask you to raise your hand. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Modern. How many modern people we have in this room? How many of you think that they are modern? Okay, good, we have a few. What about traditional? How many people think that they are traditional? Traditional people? Okay, good. What about lots of sugar? How many of you like a lot of sugar? I am the kind of person that the first things I do when I go inside the restaurant, I look at the dessert menu. I love sugars. Who loves sugars as well? Good, good, good. Okay, what about cocaine? Okay, no hands. Statistically, you are lying. According to Narcos, 1 out of 5 people can relate to this word. But who is around? So let's move on. The reality is that if you can relate to those words, if those words mean something to you, some of them, okay, maybe not the cocaine part, but you can relate to this brand. So how do we choose? How do we choose which functional and emotional benefits do we want to communicate in order to engage with our consumers? Well, it's very simple. We need to know our consumers. But we don't just need to know, we need to understand them as human beings. That's the key. That's why today I want to talk about human-centric marketing. And I want to answer to 3 key questions together with you. The first one is why? Why people do what they do. The second one is how? How can a brand become a lifestyle? And the third one is how can we create more engaging sponsorship? Because here is one thing. Brand, they want to become a lifestyle. Sport clubs, they also want to become a lifestyle. And partnership between those two can help them to achieve this. I want to start from a story. Do you guys know this brand, Harley Davidson? Do you know it? Okay, what is Harley Davidson selling? Okay, anyone? Motorbikes. Yeah? A lifestyle. Very good. When they asked this question to the VP, John Russell, this was his answer. He said, what we sell is the ability for a 43-year-old accountant to dress in black leather, ride through small towns, and have people to be afraid of him. So when they stop selling motorbikes and they start selling an emotional experience, their revenues just exploded. They went from 1.5 billion to 4.6 billion annual revenue. So they almost double it, triple it. Amazing. And why is this? Because, guys, people buy for emotional reasons. And then they tend to justify their purchase with their rationality. So my company, that is called Garrison Group, is based in Boston. What we do, we are focused in making brand a lifestyle by understanding people as human beings. And we do this with several clients, from Danone, Coca-Cola, Juventus, Corinthians, ING, Carrefour, Pfizer. The focus is not really the category. The focus is the human. The focus is understanding people and consumers as human beings. And we also do this with several brands in Turkey as well. when you're able to do this, happens the same thing that happened to Harley Davidson. We are able to achieve exponential growth, like the case that you see here on my back. And I'm going to talk about a few of them. But understanding people as humans is not that easy. I was in my hometown and I met my dad, and my dad said, Matteo, I'm still trying to understand your mom. Yeah, because human beings are complicated. So the usual research, demography, geography, they're not enough to understand people as humans. We need to use big data. And we can use big data in order to understand the people's lifestyle, in order to understand also the categories that they consume. In the database that we own, we have 14,000 respondents asking to several questions. In particular, when it comes to category, we have 200 categories and 4,000 brands. But we also want to understand their shopping habits and also how they relate with media. If I can answer to all those questions, then I can say that I know you and I understand you as a human. So in Turkey specifically, we found 22 different kind of segments of human beings. So if you are from 18 until 70, and I think you are one of those segments in this map. I'm going to read you a few names, like the conscious progressive, the young white Turks, status achiever, balancer, fulfiller, sexualizer, the liberal cosmopolitan, the traditionalist, the murtarlar. You can see that some of them are very Turkish specific. And the reality is that I can talk about them, each one of them, for hours, for all the information that I have in our database. But I just want to give you a couple of examples on how you can leverage those human insights in order to create brands that become a lifestyle one day. So let's start from this example first. Do you guys know this brand, Levitra? If you know it, please raise your hand. Amazing. No one knows it. That's good news because this brand is for your erectile dysfunction. So if you don't know it, that's good, guys. You guys have no sexual problem. Very good. But let me give you the example of what we did. This is for Hungary, by the way, this project. So the first thing that we do, and you see, like, people feel very ashamed to use something like this. So we have to twist this by understanding first the right target. So we decided to target a segment that is called fulfillers. Those are the kind of people that they put their career as a first priority. Because if they can get to the top of their career, they can provide their families with the best. They are super career-driven, and what is very important for them is the power, the feeling in control, the be the best, right? So we need to understand what is an emotional message for this kind of people. If we need to stop selling a pharmaceutical product, what is that we really have to sell? Well, what we have to sell for these people is the opportunity of feeling like I am James Bond. I am James Bond. You take one of these and you feel like I'm James Bond. So in order to do something like that, we have for sure changing the packaging. So what we did, we create something that is more in tune with a James Bond experience, the orange and black colors. Now it's not anymore appealing. It looks like a little mantle that you can have and that can just help you to empower your horses. I remember we did a focus group after, and those guys say, yeah, I love it. I use Levitra. It's like having a Red Bull in your pocket. Very cool. So that's how you make a brand a lifestyle. But I also want to give you another example. Do you guys know this advertising here? All the girls, for sure, they know. Okay, girls, you really have to thank me because this is the advertising that we did after working with Biscolata. But you guys know why this advertising was so successful? Let me tell you why. First of all, because we understood that there was a gap in the market. What we did is that we really wanted to understand the young white Turks. we used young white Turks as a key target, and we found out two key tension points. The first one is, what we did was we understood that one of their tension was why I cannot be treated as a modern woman. And the second one was why I cannot have the same opportunity as a man in Turkey. Those were the two tensions of these segments, that is young, modern, and independent. So if we want to engage with them, and if we want to create a brand that can become a lifestyle, we understood that what we had to communicate was challenging the status quo, emancipating the women of Turkey. So with this in mind, with this experience in mind, we create several advertising. And you know what was extremely provocative? It was not the fact that the men were half naked. It's the fact that it's the men serving the women. The men serving the women. And because of that, we achieved 165 sales increase. Now it was interesting because the CEO, after running this advertising, called me and said, Matteo, we have to stop. I said, but why? He said, because there are people protesting. Under their building, under the Scholen building, there were people protesting. And I said, that's okay, just film them and put this on YouTube. You know why? Because if there is people that hate your brand, there is also people that love your brand. The important thing is that your brand, people are not indifferent. So I hope that I give you a little bit of insights on how you can create a brand that becomes a lifestyle. But the same thing is also for the sport clubs. There is one thing that is in common to all the sport clubs in the universe. They have one nightmare. They all share the same nightmare. They are afraid that their sports results impact on their financial results. The more a team wins, the more people go to the stadium, the more people buy T-shirts, the more it's easier to find sponsorship. Well, this is not always true. If we take the case, for example, of Manchester United, during the toughest periods, was able also to increase their revenues. And why is that? Because Manchester United was able to become a lifestyle. I work a lot with Ghana, with Nigeria. You see people there that die for the T-shirt, but they don't even watch the games. It's because of what Manchester United represents. It represents a mindset. Like this campaign here that they did.
I am Jiang Wei. I play for Manchester United.
Soy Martín Novas y juego para Manchester United.
I'm Brandon Davis and I play for Manchester United.
Soy Pablo Álvarez.
Maria Sharmau.
Soy Ernesto Pratama.
Ikaw malam mong sipozungo ngidlala li Manchester United.
I'm Wayne Rooney, and I play for you.
Beautiful. And this is not only the case of Manchester United, but there are many sports clubs that are moving into this direction. We personally helped Juventus to move into this direction. They understood that they need to stop being into the football category, but they need to become a lifestyle and moving into the entertainment category. So what is the things that we did for them? First of all, we understood that they didn't know anything about their supporters. So we helped them in understanding them as human beings. Once we understood who they were as humans, we create different kind of memberships in order to create activities that are relevant for them across the entire year. And we have several membership cards that we created. I think one of the most interesting is Juventus is the first club that has also a membership for kids, because according to research, people, kids, when they are between 9 and 12, that's when they choose their team. And then they stuck with this team for the rest of their years. So it was important to have one of them. We have also, so what does it mean to create activities during the entire year? That's the case, for example, of the Juventus tribe for the status achievers. The status achievers are those kind of people that they like to be in shape. You see them outside Lucca, right, here in Istambul with fancy car, and they like to train a lot. They want to train like a champion. So we created a Juventus app where you can follow what is the training that Juventus is doing every day so that they can replicate it when they are in their gym. And was extremely successful. But this was not, this was not it. The other thing that we did was we need to move into TV series, for example. We need to move into cartoons in order to engage with them. We need to create a more engaging stadium experience where people, just like in the US, they start going to the football pitch from 10 a.m. and then they leave at 5, 6 p.m. And was beautiful. Now, it's also important to understand sponsorship. When it comes to sponsorship, guys, you need to stop thinking about reaching people. It's about engaging people, not reaching. In fact, when it comes to understand what kind of sponsorship makes really sense, the first thing I ask to myself is this sponsorship increasing the equity of both brands? If yes, then it's a good sponsorship. So this is the case of Juventus and Jeep. And Jeep is discovery, Jeep community, ambitious, and strength, while Juventus is about the Juventus family, daring, racing standards, and gentleman style. When you see the match between the two, their DNA is not too far away. That's an important thing, but it's also important to see what can give to the other. And in this case, we see that Jeep get this daring aspect of Juve that is very important, and then he created a new value, the one of daring adventure. While Juventus, that before had this, it was all about raising the standard, do the things better. Now it changed it with Jeep, and it's really about breaking the limits. So it's not incremental improvement, but it's really breaking through. And that's also why they bought Cristiano Ronaldo. The brand Cristiano Ronaldo helped a lot Juventus to be part of this area as well. But there are many partnerships that makes a lot of sense during the years, like the one with Red Bull and Formula One, or the Ryder Cup with Rolex, but also the one about Prada and Luna Rossa. All those partnerships, they really help to increase the brand equity of both. So the suggestion is almost like going and looking for a date. You have many opportunities, but you really need to find the perfect match that helps to increase the equity of one brand with the other. So to all the brands and to all the sport clubs, my suggestion is go out there and find your perfect match. Thank you very much. Guys, the time was very limited, so if you have any questions or anything, please add me on LinkedIn. Let's stay connected, and I can tell you more. I can also share this presentation. But thank you very much, Tashakul Ederim, and it's always great to be here in Istanbul.